Welcome to the second episode of the LeftLion Interviews podcast. My name is Jared Wilson and I am the editor-in-chief of LeftLion. Our guest this episode is the amazing human beatboxer, the Petebox, aka Pete Sampson. Pete grew up and began his musical career in Nottingham and he's someone I've known right since the early days of LeftLion. He headlined the old LeftLion stage at Splendour Festival in 2011 and he also played our 10th birthday do back in 2013. Since then, he has also performed at dozens of other gigs and venues around the city. Around 2011-2012, he recorded a series of cover version videos that went viral on YouTube. These were covers of songs like Lithium by Nirvana, Kids by MGMT, I Get Around by the Beach Boys, and perhaps most famously, Where Is My Mind by the Pixies. If you're not familiar with his work, I definitely advise you to have a good look or listen through them on YouTube and Spotify. They're all his own unique takes on the original works, and like all the best cover versions, they add something completely new into the mix. So since then, Pete has released 3 albums and performed all around the world, making his living as a touring musician, which is no mean feat in this day and age. Then, late last year, he had another big dose of fame as a contestant on ITV's popular TV show, The Voice. He had all 4 judges pushing down their buttons and turning their chairs around to sign him up for their team. These are musical luminaries like Sir Tom Jones, will.i.am, Anne-Marie and Ollie Murs. You'll hear more about how all that happened over the next hour or so. He also performed 3 songs for us which we've spliced into this podcast for your listening pleasure, with the first one to come shortly. Enjoy.
Hi, this is Sophie from LeftLion, Nottingham's iconic culture magazine. Each month we publish a beautiful free magazine that shines a light on the art, music, food, literature and more that makes Nottingham such a vibrant and creative city to live in. It's a bit unusual for a local print magazine to exist these days, but we've managed to keep going for over 20 years, giving the city's artists, photographers and writers a platform to publish their work. We distribute 15,000 copies in over 300 venues across the county, and you can find LeftLion in every local library, every Castle Rock pub, in all active Nottingham leisure centres, and all the best bars, cafes and hangouts in Nottingham. If you're ever in town at the start of the month, you may have seen our LeftLion bike rolling around the streets. In line with our pledge to be a carbon neutral company, we deliver our magazines on foot, by electric bicycle or where strictly necessary by van. You can also read the full magazine and lots more for free at leftlion.co.uk. Check out the events listings on our website to find out what's going on in Notts, and if you'd like to promote your business or organisation with us, please visit leftlion.co.uk/advertise.
This world for me, but now you're just a thought that escaped from me, and you made a lie become your alibi. Well, you're feeling low, cause you don't know that the path that you chose isn't closed, and I'm with you side by side. Cause then you know you feel like you don't know your special wave, and love will follow. Like you don't know the special wave, and love will follow. You feel like you don't know your special wave, and love will follow. Your whole mind is made in a special way, we share the same glow. special wave and love will follow. Your whole mind is made in a special way. We share the same glow. You feel like you don't know your special wave and love will follow. Your whole mind is made in a special way. We share the same glow. Special wave and love will follow. Your whole mind is made in a special way. We share the same glow.
Thank you. Hi everyone. Right. Hi Jared.
Hello.
Hi.
Right, you're based in London these days, but you grew up here and you went to school here, and you were Nottingham lad. Tell us a bit about the young Pete Sampson and those days and the young person you were back then.
It wasn't too long ago, so I remember it well. No, I'm well old. That's a lovely question. Yeah, so I came to Nottingham, sort of year 5 of junior school, and then grew up here. So yeah, Nottingham's very much like my stomping grounds. Didn't do music at school, and then sort of growing up and stuff, started a band with my brother John in secondary school, and then started kind of cutting my teeth doing open mic nights around Nottingham, of which there was just loads, and then through the years so many independent promoters and venues and stuff like that, so I just learned kind of everything I came to sort of be through living here.
And am I right in thinking were you born in Australia?
Yeah.
Whereabouts in
Originally, this is my first accent. Yeah, used to speak like this, I was born in Perth, in Australia, yeah. And then I actually moved from Perth to Sydney, lived in Croydon for a little bit. So for a little bit, I spoke like that when I was 4. And then back to Australia, and then back to near Brighton, and then Nottingham. I've been about.
So which bit of Nottingham did you grow up in, and where did you go to school?
I went to school in Southwell. That was where, I don't mind whatever, I say Southwell, but I don't think that's right. Just Southwell. And so that's kind of, that's where I went to school, and kind of like, it's really a nice place, I guess, yeah.
So when did you first realise you had this strange talent for beatboxing?
I didn't, to begin with. I was rubbish. I just heard, I'd heard of beatboxing, and my cousin Adam, he went away, we were like best mates. He lived in Cornwall for a couple of years, and he came back, and he's like, yo, Pete, I do this thing. It's like, I was like, yeah, that's pretty cool. And then never, didn't really think anything of it. And one day, I was in my friend's car, someone came to the window, and he was just like, yo, Pete, you'll like this. And it was a CD with a recording of Razel, If Your Mother Only Knew. If your mother only knew. And I was like, listened to it, I was like, oh yes, he's got a great voice, hasn't he? And he was like, nah, the beat is like him. And I was just like, nah. I listened to it again, and I was like, nah. I was like, dude, can I take this home? And I was just enthralled. And I guess luckily I've always had kind of worked out that stuff that one human can do, anyone could sort of mechanically or physically or mentally or stuff do in time. So it wasn't this impossible thing. I just couldn't believe where beatboxing what it could be. And so, I just went home and I'm like, and like, there was never a starting point where I kind of discovered I could do it. It's just like I wanted to do it so bad. It's like playing guitar, it's impossible when you first pick up a guitar, but in my case, I wanted to be Kurt Cobain, so it was so bad that you just kind of stick through the weirdness,
But I guess nowadays there's loads of tutorials. I mean, you've done some yourself on YouTube and all these other ways to learn, whereas like then there was, there was Killer Keller, there was Rizal, and that was it, wasn't it?
Yeah, so it was, nowadays it's like easy to learn, can't you? No, but you're absolutely right. There's this wonderful sharing culture in beatboxing, and so there's perhaps a quicker route to understanding where the sounds come from and how they're made in time. At that time, my girlfriend at the time, she made me a mixtape of Killer Keller, and so I just had these audio CDs of like the best beatboxers ever, and it was just, I studied them though. I listened differently than my friends did. Like all my friends started to beatbox because I was just all over, that's all I wanted to do. But I really thought of it differently and was so kind of motivated to learn and understand what was going on. And then every so often I'd go to like a house party and I'd hear that there's a beatboxer there. And there's a guy called Foz from Nottingham.
I remember Foz, yep.
And I had heard of Foz, and then I met Foz, and now we're super good mates. And he's sick. I mean, at that time, amazing. So I'm there like chatting to him, and it was. Everyone looks back to how I think they had to do things and stuff. I really like it that it worked out that way because I'm bad at learning. Like I don't know if I never sat down and watched a tutorial on how to play guitar. Obviously I read books but I don't know. It's just the way my brain works. It suited me. I don't watch tutorials now. I wish I was better, but I don't like that sort of focused learning, kind of structured practice situation with music.
So I also know you're from this incredibly talented musical family. Tell us a little bit about this.
Well, my brothers are well good at music. So I have an older brother and a younger brother from the same mother. And I have an older brother and sister from a different mother, and a younger brother from a different mother. And me and my two brothers, we all do music, and they're, amazing. John, I was in a band with John for many years. There's something special about that guy with music. My younger brother Ross, he's like a composer. He does like classical composition and stuff. But then my younger brother Matt is a wicked producer, a musician. We've all ended up doing it, and I think the common theme was my dad. So I lived with Dad till I was 11, and he was a brilliant organist and pianist, right? But it was kind of like, he had to learn growing up, and it wasn't like writing songs and stuff. It was just like he had a very sort of genius, like maths brain, and he just played music all the time. He was obsessed with hi-fi. He would build speakers, and so all day, every day, when he was in, there was just this ambience of orchestral music and choral music and just the best rock and roll bands, and all the time. So it's not like it was, do music and make a thing of it. It was just around all the time. And that's when I because it's like, I don't know why or how we're all obsessed with music and have made careers out of it. But then with Matt as well, it's just like, he's just brilliant at music too. And I think it's that, just constantly just listening to just wicked music.
That exposure to it. So for anybody in the audience and people at home as well, if you want to check out Pete's older brother is John Sampson, who's CJ Mirror, he goes as nowadays.
Yeah.
And he does a lot of film soundtracks now, doesn't he, as well?
Yeah, so his name's CJ Mirror. He started it to kind of do his own thing, but through that he's done a lot of soundtrack stuff. But he's just brilliant. So he's like now he's just finished his second series of a Apple TV series as like lead composer. You know, it's just like wow. But all the while he's an amazing singer, songwriter, producer, sort of frontman. So he's the name he goes under for that is CJ's Mirror Maze, where he's just releasing singles, and it's mind-blowing stuff.
And then the younger brothers, Ross, who I've seen, you tell me the name in a minute, but I've seen some of the videos. So he's got a big orchestra playing things like Game of Thrones and Adele and these really mainstream tunes, right?
Yeah, so Ross, he's a few years younger than me. John's older than me. Me and John started the band when I was like 13, 14.
Swimming, everybody swimming.
Well, that band was called In Sereb, yeah. We were playing like grunge, but we were working hard. And then we formed Swimming a bit later on. But at the time, so we were out just playing shows and rocking out. And Ross, he got hold of Eddie Roll Orchestral and was just at home just making like orchestral music. Just off his own, thing. It's just like, and he's followed that on. So yeah, he made a series of videos through working with people at his uni. It was Goldsmiths Uni, and he would do like epic versions of songs. So Game of Thrones and Adele, and he's got more views than me.
Does he? I was going to ask.
He's absolutely killed it.
Really, yeah.
So yeah, and now he has he makes sample libraries. It's called Wave Runner Audio, and he's just meticulous about it. He makes just incredible sample libraries. So.
And without wishing to reveal your family album too much, it doesn't really end there, does it? John's wife is Ronica, who's been in LeftLion many times, and released an album called Selector Disc, which I would highly encourage you all to check out as well.
Yeah, she's like a stunning singer, writer, producer. Yeah.
So what's it like at home? Do you have big jams?
No. Well, when I was in swimming and stuff, but even that was like John's sort of brainchild. It's like, but it's kind of nicely. We're all kind of just doing our things. It's funny, isn't it? Because we're all into music, and it's like if prompted to think like, why on earth do we all do it? And it's from a similar reason, because Dad played music, I guess. But we've all ended up doing way different things, in that. Individually, so.
So it was about 13 or 14 years ago that you did those videos with Simon Ellis and dropped them on YouTube. It gets quick, doesn't it? Tell us about that. I mean, the Pixies cover's got like 6 million on YouTube, and firstly, why did you do those videos? What were you thinking at the time?
So for ages, I was like, my main instrument is guitar, and that's where I'd write my songs. And with my first band with John and then Swimming, you make records, and I'm interested in writing songs. So like beatboxing, I love the mechanics of it, but it's like, okay, but how do I use it to make songs? And that's where the loop pedal came in. But for a long time, I'd been recording beatboxing and making tunes and just being like, how do you make that beatbox album? Because it's like, I spent time just cutting up, the kick and the hi-hat snare and then producing it like that, and it's like, cool. And it is about the songs, but it kind of, it loses that kind of, it loses some kind of feel of the beatboxing. It's more like a sonic thing, and then I'd record. I just spent a long time thinking how to make a beatbox album. But then, separately from that, I got a loop pedal, and I was just messing about with it. And I'd never thought of beatboxing and playing the guitar in the same space. I was just like, I would play open mic nights with my guitar, and then I'd go and play techno shows with beatboxing. There were just these two different worlds in my mind. And I was just around staying at my mate's house at the time. I was just, didn't think about it really. I just plugged in the guitar, and Where's My Mind's one of my favorite songs ever, and I just started messing about with it. And I was like, oh yeah, this, and then this has got to go here. And I came up with an arrangement. And I've always thought very much about how to create a lifestyle whereby I can just do this thing that I'm compelled to do, which is music. And that follows, you got to make money from it and stuff. And it's like, okay, so to do that, I need to be seen as much as possible. Okay, there's this thing, there's this YouTube. Rather than just make it and play it live, how's about I record it and try and record it as best as I could. And then I asked Simon Ellis, he's just like an incredible cinematographer who I got to know and was friends with. I just thought, I just want to record it as nice as possible, you know, with it being in one take and.
Well, that's it. Some of the beauty of these were that they were one take, but how many takes did it take to get that one take?
That one probably about 4. It was
Right.
just in Simon's kitchen, yeah. And like, but at that point, it was just, this one thing that I've done that I think is kind of cool. Up until then, my most viewed video, I don't know, like 5,000 maybe over a few years, beatboxing drum and bass. But I didn't really think anyone would see it. And I was a little bit nervous. I was like, it's not really beatboxing, is it? You know? And I was dead bothered that Simon didn't go down to the loop pedal quickly enough. I was like, no one's going to know what I'm doing. Pixies fans, I didn't think anyone would see it, you know? And it went viral. And like, do you remember that time when everyone was just talking about it? It was just like, what's going on?
Because I remember you saying before that you kind of put it out there, went to bed, woke up and were like...
I was ill and went to bed. Actually, I'd put it up and I had this one person trash it. Like the first comment was, this is rubbish. Like, what you're doing is you taking the piss, blah, 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 how dare you? I was like, oh no. Like, God, no. I didn't think there'd be many comments or anything, so I was like, everyone's just gonna read this comment. And I was a bit nervous about it, and I was just like, I was like, hang on a minute. Delete? I just deleted the comment. And then another one just going, how dare you delete the comment, blah, blah, blah. I was just like, oh God, this is, oh no. Deleted that, and then the third one came, and I was like, oh, hang on, block. So I blocked him. So I put it up, and then I had this like horrible feedback experience, just going, I don't think it's not offensive, you know. And then I went to bed, and I woke up, and my Hotmail was just full of comments, just like so many comments. I was like, wow, what's going on? And I woke up, I was like, oh my gosh, it's like being seen. And I saw this one comment, your video's just made it to the front page of Reddit, my friend. Enjoy the views. At the time, I didn't know what Reddit was, but, you know, for people who know, it's a big deal. And then they just kept coming. And then, like, people started talking about it, and then the Pixies posted about it. Like,
how did you feel when the Pixies posted it?
Yeah, they're like, they've seen it, you know? Again, I just never thought many people would see this. And then Mark Hoppus from Blink-182 posted it on his thing, and like all these, and you know, I mean, what lovely affirmation that you've done something right. But and you know, the shares and the chats about it, it's just like wicked. And then about a month later, I was writing in my journal, and I was just like, this is how to make a beatbox album. Because one thing I did think was like I did want people to see what I'm doing, you know, that it's live and in one take and stuff. And so with the album, that was when I thought, oh my gosh, I'm going to make an album like this. I don't want it to be just covers or just my songs, so I did half and half with Simon filming it. And the next ones, I spent a lot more time trying to make it sound as sort of produced as possible. And yeah, that's how it all sort of came, you know.
So around that time, you released Future Loops. So what does that album mean to you now? And tell us about the album.
What does the album mean to me? I don't really know. I mean, it's very precious, you know. Like it's the thing that happened whereby I started touring the world, and I've had a lot of good feedback, and not just people telling me sort of it's good and they like it, but a lot of people seem to express to me that it's helped them through, you know, dark times and things like that. Yeah, very, very sort of proud about it. And you know, on reflection, I'm just like, oh, I didn't know that. I'm just chuffed that I came up with that kind of concept of releasing a video every 2 weeks, and I'm very happy about it. Yeah.
What are your other favourites of those covers that you were doing then?
The favourites of the covers?
Yeah.
Well, I just chose just all my favourite songs. Like, I was just like, what covers shall I do? Just all the songs I really like, you know. And then, like could do, because it's very, for me, everything really makes sense with a song, and like how I end up working it out on the loop pedal. It's just like, well, the drums have to go here, and the chords don't change, so the bass line, I can use this channel to kind of liven it up a little bit. So yeah, it's just songs that I love, but then I felt like I could do functionally well, and then sing like I mean it, which I mean that's just a given anyway, so I like them all.
Because there was a big grunge influence in your life then. I mean, you've said before, Kurt Cobain's your idol, right?
Favourite band ever.
Yeah.
And I'm not that good at, I'm not a huge music, like, listener, in the way that most of the people I know are. Like, it's never occurred to me to rate music. I've never gone, that's good, or that's bad. It's not in the way I think. But I like sort of everything I hear, and I'm like, oh, it's wicked, like someone's made that, and but I don't have a relationship with it in the way that a lot of people do. I kind of don't seek out stuff, and I don't listen. I could drive for 5 hours. I don't put music on, and my connection with music is just sort of concurrent. It doesn't really peak in too many moments, but every so often I'll hear a song that just affects me somehow. That then I'll just listen to that one song over again. I mean, you know, some people are like, oh, you know, when you listen to it like all day.
Do you really do that? So I'll just on repeat, really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Because there's some songs, and I think it's physics. It is physics. It's like the relationship of one note to another. You know, it's not just one note or a sound. I never really hear the lyrics or know the message. It's like there's just a movement from one note to another every so often, and a series of them that just moves me, like incredibly though. And interestingly enough, like everyone has that experience, but it will be a different movement of those notes. So it won't be that note to that note, which I go like, wow. It'll be like that note to that note, which will make someone else go like, wow. You know, physics, bro.
2017, 2018, you released Songs from the Vaults. What was the inspiration behind that?
They're just like songs that I'd sort of started doing live, I think. And I feel I came to understand and kind of work and be happy with how to record songs in a way that seems to keep that kind of excitement on record and with a video. And so I just thought, it'd be really nice to just record all the songs that I've been doing. And I guess I am proud of my arrangements and stuff, and I think I like to think I do songs justice. You know, I like to think that they sound nice, and whenever I've connected with music, or if there's a band that I like and you see something live, you know, there's a lot of people that know me just from seeing me live, like then. And then it's like, oh, it'd be nice if they could listen to a song that they saw me live, and that's how they came to like me on a record. So I'm just like so not deep. I'm just like, I don't know what I'm doing here the whole time.
I mean, I wanted to ask you as well. So obviously we talked about the Pixies earlier, but what other artists whose tunes you've had have you heard from about them? You had many feedback from?
No.
No.
I don't think any others, no.
Okay.
Hot Chip once came up to me at a festival and was like, oh, you did that
Did they like
cover of, yeah. And they were like, oh, that was cool. I'm like, cheers.
So we chatted about this at Beat the Streets, but another old friend of yours, Andy Wright, recently found fame in a quite bizarre way with his band Panchico. I want you to tell everybody this story.
Okay, so I know Andy very well. So do you all know about the Panchico thing? So what happened, there was a band called Panchico. I happened to be best friends with one of the members, made a record in 2000, year 2000, and they're incredible. Like at the time, it was like sort of electronic, indie, sort of Radiohead-inspired kind of thing. They were a band at school, together for about 3 years, made this one record. It was very good, but no one picked it up, and they ended the band.
And this is in Nottingham as well. This is
in Nottingham, yeah, at my school. And that was sort of that. 20 years later, someone was, I think it was in Nottingham.
It's
maybe
a Sherwood charity shop.
Sherwood charity shop found like a CDR of this album, right? The album's called Death Metal. But it's like indie, like cool indie stuff, and just picked it up. And there was this thing, people like sort of old, these like forums where people chat and share like old.
It was Reddit. No, it wasn't.
4chan.
It was 4chan. No,
yeah.
was it 4chan?
So this person was an avid user of 4chan and found the CD, came home, listened to it, and it's just like good music. And one of the things was on the CDR, just at the back. So it's called death metal, but it's absolutely not death metal. And on the back, it just said the first names of all of the members, made in 2000. And this person was like, hey, listen to this. Like, Andy's, he was always so good. I mean, it just sounds legit. He was like, anyone know what happened to this band or who the members are? And it says it was made 20 years ago, but it sounds so good. And then it just got people like talking because it sounded too good to have been made then. And it just got this traction of like art. And then someone accused this user of like, I think you're just making this up for like press and stuff. And somehow that created this sort of...
There's people going, is this Radiohead, right? And other things,
yeah,
this crazy
yeah,
role.
like, yeah, and like, is this legit? Is this like, what's going on? And that crossed over to like these big YouTube channels, like myth-busting YouTube channels, like 1 million views and stuff. And everyone was like chatting about this record that was made. And then, you know, the guys got wind of it and they started an Instagram and stuff. It is legitimately brilliant music. 4 years later, they're just sort of one of the biggest bands ever. You know what I mean? They sell out tours instantly in America. They're playing like 5,000
Coachella, right?
I just like, oh God, I didn't even know. Yeah, and I have a huge following. They've hit like, well, last time I heard, probably about 6 months ago, like 50 million streams on Spotify. They have like massive fans and stuff. They are like a huge band now, playing stuff from 20 years ago. It's like a really interesting and like wonderful story in pop culture. Like it came like kind of off the back of COVID again. It's just this like really wicked, you know, story, and it's like my best mate. It's Andy, right? And what's really amazing as well is so that initial thing happened, but then the way that they have managed it and dealt with it and run with it, and the stuff that they're making now, you know, the albums they're making, the album they made since, you know, they have then cultivated where they are now. It wasn't just that, although that happened. It's incredible to see how they have maneuvered that to being as successful as they are. You know, it wasn't a given that was going to happen, and then they're there. That's like down to them, like seriously, and how incredible the album is. You know.
So yeah, Panchico, everybody, worth checking that out.
I just want to say that I think about 2 times I played drums in a practice session with Panchico, so claim to fame.
grace to us, my dear. Can't pretend that I will perfectly leaving you in fear. Oh man, why the world the things I hear? If I could act on my revenge, you know would I? Some kill, some steal, some break your heart, and you fall that I will let it go and let you walk. Broken hearts break bones, so break off fast, and I don't wanna let it go, so in my grave I ride. Yeah, 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 yeah. So in my grave I ride. I love to grace to rest, my dear. Never thought that I would ever leaving you in fear. Oh man, why the world the things I hear? If I could add to my revenge, you know would I? Some kill, some steal, some break your heart, and you thought that I would let it go and let you walk. Broken hearts break bones, so break up fast, and I don't wanna let it go, so in my grave I'll ride. La 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 la. So in my grave I'll ride. Yeah. Paper and pen, curriculum's in, not gonna happen again. I'm in the troubling time and I'm feeling like all I can do is keep writing and writing. And I was kicked out the floor by my friend, all because all that I do is defend. Now I'm the fucked up forever, but I am who I am, I got them, I do it again. But now, pain over pain in the venomous stores, stuck in an avenue, closing the walls. On my own scribbling and fighting my demons to try to make sense of it all, but I can't. I'm in the dust, I'm feeling lost, gotta hold back and all cross. I'm in a spiral that nobody that I know can't understand. Well, I'm alone in this honest life. When I'm digging out of grace, my friend, I'm alone in this honest life, and I may never be the same again. I'm alone in this honest life, and I'm digging out of grace, my friend. I'm alone in this honest life. When I may never be the same. Look at me, follow me, look at me, fuck with me, trying enemy. I'm my worst enemy, I'm my worst enemy, I'm my worst enemy. Locked up to grace for us, my dear. Never thought that I would ever leaving you in fear. Oh man, why the world the things I hear? If I could act on my revenge, Lord, would I? Some kill, some steal, some break your heart, and you thought that I would let it go and let you walk. Broken hearts break bones, so break up fast, and I don't wanna let it go, so in my grave I ride. Locked up to grace for us, my dear. Never thought that I would ever leave you in fear. Oh man, why the world the things I hear? If I could act on my revenge, Lord, would I? Some kill, some steal, some break your heart, and you thought that I would let it go and let you walk. Broken hearts break bones, so break up fast, and I don't wanna let it go, so in my grave I ride. So when I take off, you don't mind. Hold on, if you don't like, don't stay. You don't mind at all. So in my grave I ride.
We know it's hard having to wait a whole month in between LeftLion magazines. Heck, it's difficult enough getting through the week. Worry not, listener, we've answered the call. You can get a pithy, up-to-date digest of the best stuff going on in Nottingham each week direct to your inbox every Wednesday by signing up to the LeftLion Weekly newsletter. LeftLion Weekly contains our top recommendations of events, new content, exclusive competitions and more besides. So what are you waiting for? Visit leftlion.co.uk/newsletter to sign up now.
So are we due another album from you soon?
Yeah. Yeah, you are. As in, yeah, I mean, yeah. Yeah, I have a whole bunch of songs. For a long time I've written so much stuff that it kind of, just on piano and guitar and stuff, and I was just like, oh, where does this fit, and how do I do it? So I'm always sort of wrestling with that. So it's been a bit chaos, you know, since COVID. I didn't really, it affected everyone, but I didn't do that thing that a lot of people I know did, and like, oh, you know, regroup and restructure, and I I just hold my hand up and I coped bad. And I detached, and after a while I felt really detached from being myself and knowing myself as a musician and knowing what I had to offer, and just not getting to experience myself in this, in a way that I've tried to, since I was like 14, I've just tried to get as good as I can at shows and as many as I can, and yeah, I just didn't, it affected me loads. So I didn't really sort of think about any structure of anything, but it turns out through that time, and now I'm sort of feel a lot better and really cool, I'm a lot more active and doing things, but turns out I wrote loads, but it didn't really connect with kind of what I'd done, or I didn't really write thinking I'd make an album. I just have these whole bunch of songs. So yeah, I'm just kind of sifting through everything that I've done and just thinking how to present it in a way that's like Beatbox, you know, and a bit more lively, you know, like. So yeah, this is me saying I don't know when I will, but I have the music in me, and I have, I mean, like tons and tons of songs. Yeah, so I want to, the next thing is I want to make an album, yeah.
So how long has this been your day job now? Is it about 15 years, 20 years?
Yeah. Yes.
I mean, what's it like making a living out of music, really?
Hard, deeply considered. Like, from early days, I was like, right, well, this is what I want to do. Like, my motivation to think about money was just like, how do I create a scenario whereby I'm just doing this thing that I'm compelled to do as my day-to-day thing? Because everyone else, well, and at the time, it's just you do this other thing to earn money all day. I was like, how do musicians do it? And I can, you know, I thought about like Killer Keller and beatboxers and DJs that would do like a live thing. Like, and then bands, was like, what are the revenue streams of money and as a musician? So like considered very, very deeply, and then, you know, through just constant, I'm not going to call it networking because it wasn't that, it was just shows, just do shows, and every show you bring it. And you create a worth whereby it's not like people come to you to see you at a club night and they don't know who you are, but the promoter has seen that as part of that club night, people will leave going, that was a wicked thing that happened at the night, you know? And then you're like, I think I dared to ask for some money, you know? And learning how much promoters would make, and then this and that, and then it's like, oh, where else can you get money? And just to sustain yourself. So very much considered, and like very much kind of just like making sure that when something happens like a viral video you can't control, then when people start giving you, requesting you for shows and stuff like that, like making sure that's managed right and knowing what kind of to ask for, and just really just doing your best sort of in the show, like don't miss shows, create relationships with the promoters, and have merch and things like that. And so it's just like a constant thought, but as is anything, you know, it's just a bit more abstract for me. I didn't have any guidance, or there's nowhere I need to learn how to do it, and I've always done it in my own right. So yeah, and it's that, and then it came to be that, you know, I could start getting a bit of money for shows, but I've written music for like a few adverts. I've got a song in a film.
What's the film?
Have you ever heard of Monster High? No. So I heard it. It's like a kids. Have you heard of it? It's like a kids cartoon, like franchise thing.
Right.
It's like made by Mattel. You know, people that do Barbie. They make tons of films. It's like pretty big. And it just came to me. My manager had done stuff with Klaus Badelt, who's like a composer in Hollywood. Like I'd met him once, and I think he got the film, and he was outsourcing tracks. And I just got this brief. It's like a Latino hip hop track written with Spanish and English lyrics from the perspective of one of the like monster teenage people. And I was like, I'll give it a go. I mean, I've never done that before, and I got it. So when you hear it, dude, you'll be like, you wrote that. So that, it just came that I had the opportunity to submit a track, and I smashed it, if I'm honest. And then like there's a few other times, like I was asked to write this song for tennis. Like I wrote a song for tennis. I wrote it's like the walkout tune that's played at the ATP World Finals when the players are announced, and it's in this big stadium, and then I wrote a song, and the brief was that I was asked directly. Doesn't mean that I would get it, but it was, asked directly. I ended up sort of writing a song, It was like a big drum and bass, kind of poppy drum and bass thing. And they just wanted a bespoke one because they'd previously used Rudimental and Chasing Status and stuff. And I was like, okay, I'll give it a go. And I got it. And I'm pretty chuffed about that one so I called it Fly Like Aces, like tennis, aces. Very chuffed about that. But yeah, so I do that, and it's, stuff like that. It's like, okay, well, how much do you get for that? And how much do you ask for that? You have to learn and then hustle the situation whereby you might get more opportunities like that. And then there's like a kind of world, and I do feel lucky about this because there's this world of corporate shows. And all corporate shows it's like a show that you're booked for, but that's instead of the party being this promoter, or it's a company that want to have a party for their employees or releasing a new thing, and they want a show. So you get booked to play in that environment. They're always wicked. There's always a bit of money, really. And so it's like, okay, so that exists. How do I get one of them? How do I find out who can get you to be seen by someone who's going to do one of these parties? And I've always been very kind of aware and appreciative of the fact that it's not just the music I make, it's like the fact I do it in a weird way, like with my mouth. So it has this extra kind of spectacle. But then when you go, you make sure you go and you smash it,
So, how many countries have you played in now? I mean, your passport must be pretty well stamped.
Yeah, loads. I don't really know, but
Tell us about some of the weirdest gigs you've ever done. I mean, did you play a Grand Prix once? I think you told me about that, was it?
Yeah, I've done 4 Grand Prix. Mental. I played in, the first one was Bahrain Grand Prix. Played there, and then the next one was the Abu Dhabi Grand Prix. And that was a bit more nuts because I was playing, I was it was more of, because I was sort of me, and I played the show I was on after Khalees, and this show called Beats on the Beach, and there was 30,000 people. And ended up watching the race in one of the boxes, and just looked, Gabrielle was there, and I just went, Gabrielle? She was like, yeah, I was like, you're sick, nice. Wild. And then I went back, played Bahrain again, and I played at the Monaco Grand Prix with Diversity. So I was there. It's just more people ask me the difference of shows one place to another, and I don't really see them. It's people are the same everywhere, and especially in that environment, people, they want to go out and dance and connect with music and stuff. And so in terms of the countries I played in live venues and festivals, I'm just amazed that I get asked, and it's just, it would be because a promoter has seen me and wants me to play. But there has been times, I've played, I was once helicoptered into a wedding in Norway. Wild, isn't it? I can remember just arriving, and everyone's it was a surprise for the people getting married. And everyone comes out and looks, I'm like, oh my gosh, who are they expecting, you know what I mean? Bono or something. And it's just just me, no one knew who I was apart from hey, I'm just gonna play a show. Absolutely, I have got to experience some wild stuff. I skydive because I do music, just because I played in environments with skydivers and being offered for me to go and do a show in return for the course and things like this, you know. Yeah. It's overwhelming trying to think about it. I can't at the minute connect with where I've actually been or anything. But just loads of places.
What's it like touring as a solo musician? Do you get lonely on the road?
I've never got lonely. Nah, but often there's moments when I'm like, imagine like nobody that I know is here to sort of see that I'm doing this. You know? My brothers,
These
my mum.
things
I'm just doing this like crazy thing. There's just no one, you know. It'll be a story and I'll tell them, but there's sort of no one. And it's not even like someone to share that with. It's just like, who's gonna believe this, you know? So yeah, no, I've not felt lonely, and it's actually quite, you know, when you're on a mission like that, and especially at the time that I was doing it so much and had so much belief, and I kind of knew when I'd get somewhere that I really felt like, check this thing I'm about to do, and then you get that feedback. That sort of drives, and I think sort of for me, overtakes any kind of feelings of like, how am I doing it? It's just like, here I am at another airport, on another plane, and so I've not felt lonely, but for many years, I met a guy called Benny who became my best friend, who then started coming with me as my live engineer, sound. And for about 5 years, he toured with me, and yeah, that was way better. I was just with my best mate. I knew I was going to sound as good as I could, and it did change my experience of it, just having someone else there, you know.
Right, we've got to ask you about last year and ITV's The Voice. So firstly, I'm going to say this because you might not be able to, but I'm right in thinking there's a network of people that work for shows like that tap people like you that are kind of bubbling on the underground up. So this wasn't your first offer, was it?
No, yeah, there are people that go and find people for these shows. So yeah, I've been asked to go on Britain's Got Talent, like loads and loads over the years, yeah. And I never would have done it. And Britain's Got Talent is just a bit different. It's like a talent show where there's just a whole bunch of weird things, you know. Brilliant and whatnot, it just didn't seem like for me. Plus I was kind of doing my own thing. I felt comfortable in what I was doing, and so yeah, they have people working, asking people, and the same with The Voice. I got asked, you know, to go on there.
So what was different about that show?
Well, one, I've watched a lot of it, like just on YouTube and stuff, and just like everyone is actually brilliant. And I've never once seen a moment whereby people got like made fun of, or like taken a piss out of, or like walking off, just feeling rubbish about themselves. It just didn't seem anything to do with that show. And you know, you just get to experience these brilliant singers. So, like, I'd noticed that even before. You know, on X Factor, they get these people up and they just ridicule them, you know, and like, that's rubbish. Like, it's, you know, and
some of those shows are mean, right?
Mean, yeah, and it's like, on there making telly and whatnot, and so it's not like I just wouldn't want to have anything to do with anything like that, and I just absolutely knew that didn't happen on The Voice. I said no to begin with, because everyone I've ever seen on The Voice can sing like amazingly, and that I've got like a nice voice, but that ain't me, you know. And then yeah, I think just in the climate of and just how I was feeling after COVID and everything, yeah, I ended up saying yeah, and go to do it. And to get on, actually, you have to do 3 auditions before the TV bit, and I did one. And I was just, my life, I wasn't happy. It was like a bad time of life. I struggle a lot, I have done, but it was probably the deepest sort of hole in terms of how I was feeling and everything. I did the first audition, and it went really well, invited me for the second one. And then I was like, no, I'm not going to do it anymore. Thank you very much. Like, sorry to waste your time. And then after a few days, I told my mum. She was like, "Don't you fucking dare!" She was like, "The Pete Sampson I know would take any opportunity." She was like, and I needed that, yeah. And so yeah, it was hard for me just to feel like I was good, you know. I didn't feel good. I didn't feel like I could do anything, like had anything to do, you know, or to offer, or like I know I am, like I knew I was, I knew I could do something cool, but I just didn't feel it. So yeah, it was a struggle. But then my mum said that, and I went back and I ended up on it, and you know, they were very supportive of me through that. They could tell that there was like something up, and offered me loads of support, and you know, you saw what happened. It was like mad good.
Well, let's come on to that in a minute. The quick show of hands, who saw Pete on The Voice? So it was last year. That's maybe about a third of the people here. So for everyone else, tell them what happened. Tell them firstly about your first appearance, and it was Sweet Dreams, right?
Yeah. So I went on The Voice, and yes, I presume you know about the kind of setup of The Voice. There's like the ones with the chairs that are all facing the other way, and so the big thing is you want to get one of these. They call them mentors now to turn, and when they turn, it means that you are through to the next round, and they sort of collect you for their team. They're looking for 10 people, and so it's like, oh, I just really hope someone turns. And you know, like just the fact of this, it's not, people aren't here because I've been on The Voice. It's like I've done my thing before, you know, which just all it was in my head was just like, oh, if I don't get any turns, and I'm just on telly, and just I was kind of putting myself in a situation where I would. I suffer obsessive thoughts and stuff, and I just don't know what would have happened if I was like, why did you do that? And so yeah, the feeling was pretty mad. But when I did it, I got up, and you could tell the nerves in my voice, but I did nail it. I got it right, and all 4 of the judges ended up turning.
Who turned first? Was it Ollie Murs first?
Will.i.am.
Will.i.am turned first, right?
He turned first, and then and all stuff, and then yeah, and so when I finished and they'd all turned, I actually had a moment when I just turned around and I was just like, yes, yeah, and then came back, and actually then I sort of felt comfortable, and sort of the way I chatted, it just seemed all right, eh? And then ended up talking, and then they ended up getting up. Ollie Murs was like, so if I get up, right, and if I sing a song, you can do some beats and stuff. I'm like, oh yeah, but there was only one microphone, so I just recorded, and then he's got us, and then he gave him the mic. He started singing, and I don't know what happened. He's beautiful voice and everything, but I don't think he really got the text. So when I was looping him, he would stop, and it was all just going a bit like weird. And then I saw. Then Will.i.am just was on his way up to the stage, and I was just like, and he just goes, yo, can I get the mic? I'm like, all right, cool. So I did a beat, and then he just did a bass line in there. I was like, oh yeah, he gets it. And then Anna Marie comes up and starts singing, and we just made this little jam kind of thing. Yeah, it was really good. So I remember just leaving, and then there's a moment, because everybody's turns, you have to kind of choose what team you want to be on. And yeah, they all have to kind of say a thing of why they want you to be with them. And then it got to Will.i.am, and he just goes like, and I've joined in, and I was just like, yeah, okay, come on, I'm like Will.i.am. But the main thing is just being an observer of that. First of all, I can't speak highly enough of the Voice and the whole process of it and everything. And yeah, it was just interesting at the time, sort of experiencing that, and I really was chuffed. And I just remember just leaving, I had to wait in this room on my own for a bit, and just being like, wow, yeah, I didn't mess up. That was the relief of that, and then kind of not, couldn't wait to tell my mum and stuff, and
Did your mum say, why didn't you sign for Tom Jones's team?
Right, yeah.
It's Tom Jones.
I know, yeah. No,
And you weren't tempted?
she was like, "Can you introduce me?" You know? Now, he did turn, but like the thing that he said, you know, when they kind of blagged you to be on their team, he was just like, you know, he knew and I knew that I wasn't going to be on his team. He was just like, you know, that was a thing. Make sure you choose wisely, you know, sort of thing, like not be on my team. So that, and then the whole thing was like, I'm just going to be candid and stuff, and you know, with this, it was a wild opportunity, and I was treated so well. And it was just hard because of where I was in my head, really hard, and like, and then I just didn't do anything for the next round until about 4 days before, and I was just like, fuck. Like, I mean, can I say fuck?
Yeah.
I was like, fuck. And then I went there, and it was like, you know, vibes, and the way it's all set up is wicked, and I performed, and I thought it was just so weird when, and my anxiety and stuff, like when, where I am, it was just, to the next round, there's now 10 of you, which has to go down to 3, and you're in this room, and you perform, and there's Will I Am and Paloma Faith, and I did my thing, and I did do what I think was a cool arrangement. And it was actually helped by my friend Benny, because he was like, "What have you done?" I was like, "Oh, dude, like nothing." And he just helped me out. And I performed it, I finished and everything, and then you wait, and you have to be asked. And I just thought I'd messed up somehow. And then the moment came, and you're all lined up, and they're about to say who's going to get through to the semi-finals. And Will Am was like, he goes, "Okay, so the first person I'm going to put through to the semi-finals is Pete." And he said it, and I was like, it was just such a weird feeling. Like, it was, again, just the, like, relief, because it was just like, I sort of responded quite strangely. It was just like, no way. Like, nothing in my mind would have thought I'd do that. I just couldn't connect. But what I did was really good. You know, I turned it on in these few days, and like, I know I am good, and I can't believe what I actually made sonically, and my performance was there. It's just I didn't feel it. So when he said it, it was just like, what's wrong with you, man? You know, that's how I was feeling. So I've not actually spoken about this, but yeah, it's just an odd one when you just don't feel it, but you put yourself in that scenario. And then the semi-final, I was well chuffed. I actually ended that just feeling really great. It wasn't right for me to get to the final, and as in, it was the people who went are amazing. A load of my mates came to watch, and I know I did myself justice and the song and stuff. So yeah, it's just an odd one to go through. And then there is a bit of things like, you're waiting for it to come out, and like, you know, how are you going to look? You know, how are you going to come across? And yeah, when it came out, I just think I sort of seemed quite cool, you know. But it was a bit of a worry. It's just like, who knows how it will be edited, or.
Were you happy with how it was edited and how it
Massively,
came out?
yeah. I was like, how wicked. And like the biggest sort of outcome of the most joyous outcome of it is just for the time, just like my friends and family, you know, and how like excited everyone was, you know, and just like, you know, with all I've done, and that's absolutely celebrated. It's just this new kind of thing, and especially after COVID, and people who are close to me could see my headspace and stuff. It was just this like period of like just excitement and joy and like messages, and yeah, it's lovely.
And I guess you'd think primetime ITV is quite a different audience to what you had before as well. Yeah. Did you get any like random stop you in the street and be like, "Are you that bloke off telly?" Yeah.
Not like loads. I dyed my hair blonde. I don't know if that's part of it, but like, I would find myself in situations where I don't know, I'm at a party or I'm with friends, or I actually once did a workshop at a school. And so say the workshop scenario was just like like year sixes, and I was with my mate who was like leading the workshop, and I was there on stage, and he was like, "Right, okay, so now we've got a special guest. Does anyone watch TV?" And I'm like, "Yeah, does anyone watch The Voice? Yeah. Did anyone watch it this year? Yeah. And I'm just there, but still, and they're like, does anyone know the beatbox? They're like, oh yeah, like, as in they remember that there was someone beatboxing, but I was there and they hadn't recognized me the whole time, kind of thing. So there's a few moments when it sort of comes out that I'm that dude off The Voice. But yeah, no, it's just nice. It happened with quite a lot of Glastonbury. I was just sort of knocking about. And
So you've just that's your most recent gig before,
yeah, I've done a couple since, but yeah.
So tell us about Glastonbury. Am I right in thinking you were there with like a choir of beatboxers? Is that right?
Choir of beatboxer, yeah.
That's probably not the right collective.
No, yeah,
now,
it sounds so illustrious. Yeah, I was there with with the Beatbox Collective. Yeah, they're like 4 or 5 beatboxers. They're actually the world like crew champions. They're just incredibly good beatboxers that are made up of. There's one guy he'd won the UK championship 3 times. Another guy,
tell us who they are.
Ballsy from Uddersfield. MC Zany, who is like an original UK champion. Hobbit,
He's from around here, or lived around here for a bit, didn't he, Hobbit?
No, he's from Gloucester.
I'm sure he was in a band, the Austin Francis connection.
He was, yeah. And I've seen that guy around here, yeah. But no, he's been from there. He's lived in London for years. But just, I mean, he's what he does for like the scene and just how good he is. And so I've kind of moonlight as a member, like an honorary member. So yeah, I did a whole bunch of shows with them, and then a whole bunch of shows on my own. I did 9 shows in all.
9 shows in Glasgow?
Yeah.
Whoa.
Yeah, it's nice. Really good. They all went really well, and yeah, how lucky it is to be able to do that.
And that wasn't your first Glastonbury, was it?
Nah, I've done loads. The first one was 2008 with swimming. So my band Swimming, we got through like the new band competition, and then you got to go and like play in Pilton Working Man's Club. It's what it's called, in front of like Michael Eavis and everything. And we got like actually all the bands that got to that bit got through. And so as soon as it was announced, like you're playing, I just went around with at the time like DVDs. Like Petebox DVDs, and I actually got booked for a show at like the Dance Village then. So yeah, my first show, Glastonbury performing experience was 16 years ago.
And you were the drummer in Swimming, weren't you?
Yeah.
Still play the drums?
Nah. I only ever learnt to play with my brother. And yeah, and like, I never like played on my own, like to practice or get better, or just. It only ever in my head was just to play with my bro. No excuse for that. see it swimming on.
always trying to talk to me. Where is my mind? Where is my mind? Where is my mind? Way out in the water, I see it swimming.
Thank you so much, everybody. Thank you for coming. Thanks for listening. And a huge thank you to LeftLion just over the years. Just like huge respect. Thank you so much for everything you've done. Cheers. See you later.
For 2 decades and nearing 200 printed issues, LeftLion magazine has shone a light on Nottingham's culture and entertainment scene. We believe we are part of what makes the city unique. Not many others in the country or world have a free independent press like us. LeftLion is Nottingham's meeting point for information about what's going on in our city, from the big companies and issues to the grassroots, promoters and community organisations. Our printed magazine is free to access for all, and we believe it's important it stays like that. However, we are increasingly relying upon donations from our readers to continue what we do. If you'd like to support our work, then you can do so by making a monthly pledge at Patreon/LeftLion. By pledging just £2 per month, you'll help make a real difference and will receive the digital copy of our magazine before it's available in town or on our website. If you pledge £5 per month, we'll also print your name or the name of a loved one, your band, your small business or your pet in each issue. If you can support us with a pledge of £10 per month, we'll also send you each issue through the post, and you'll receive an art print of the cover with each copy, plus occasional other free gifts too. For more details about supporting LeftLion, please visit patreon.com/LeftLion.
The Petebox, everyone! So I believe the first time we covered him in LeftLion magazine, the headline read, "That lad has got a right gob on him." And happily, that's still true to this day. If you've now got the taste for his work, you can find all his songs on the usual channels, as well as on his website, at thepetebox.com. Although it's probably on YouTube he's most famous, and it's fun on there to watch the videos as you get a real sense of how he puts each tune together. If you're wondering what the 3 songs he performed during this podcast are, they are Revenge, a track originally by XXXTentacion, who's an artist I wasn't familiar with before, Wave, which is an original composition by the Petebox, and Where Is My Mind by the Pixies. One mistake that I personally made in this podcast was saying that the band Panchico, who we spoke about in the first half because Pete's best mate Andy Wright's in it, played at the Coachella Festival. I've since fact-checked myself and realised that the big American festival I actually meant was South by Southwest in Texas. So my apologies to any of our listeners for getting those two mixed up. For any of you that were at the live recording of this event, I should also probably apologise that we cut out the section where the audience asked some questions. Unfortunately, there wasn't a roving mic, so the audio of that bit didn't come through particularly well, and it's something we'll learn from in the future. So speaking of this podcast, as I mentioned at the beginning, we've got several more guests coming up over the next few months. Next up is the wonderful hip-hop inspired illustrator Emily Catherine on Friday the 2nd of August. And then we've got the soulful singer-songwriter Dowdy Matsiko on the 6th of September. And the podcast will be up shortly after those. But those are the events and the dates at the library. You can get free tickets for those events thanks to the generous funding of the Arts Council. Find out more and book yourself a place at leftlion.co.uk/library. Thanks for listening right to the end. See you next time.